the Noofs have entered the podcast studio. I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but if you hear slobber and shaking, it's Noofs. They literally just burst in. So we're going to let them have it. Are you lying down here? All right. You guys can stay. You just got to be good. They are thinking it's close to their dinner time, so they thought they would remind me. All right. Today on the podcast, I wanted to talk a little bit more about fulfillment factor and why walks and fetch just aren't cutting it. We're going to be talking a little bit more about one of the Noofs today in the story today. Her name is Eclipse. I can't wait to get into this. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to the podcast. Say hello to Nigel and Dakota. We're our special guests here today. Oh, wait, Nigel's leaving. No, yeah, he's had enough of this. He's like, I can't get on the couch here. I'm out. Oh, goodness gracious. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us here at the Beyond Obedience podcast, super duper welcome to you. Super duper welcome to you today. I wanted to talk about this idea of fulfillment factor and why your walks or playing fetch just ain't cutting it. And I wanted to start with a story. Now, if you're on my email list, you might have already heard this story. I did mention it in one of the stories, but I wanted to kind of bring it up again because I get this question a lot when I talk about fulfillment and the idea that first of all, if you get the fulfillment down, if you nail fulfillment for your dog, it is, in my opinion, the trifecta of relationship and partnership with the dog. It's the trifecta of it. Now, if you are new to me and you haven't heard our foundation of relationship, or we've also started calling it the foundation of partnership, but the foundation of relationship has three foundations. The first one is leadership, of course. It is your job. It is your role. It is your duty as someone who invited a different species to share your life in Humansville. You must lead them through that experience. That is, I'm just going to keep saying it because people give leadership a bad rap, but it is literally that. It is guidance. Guide your dog through a human experience. Be there as their support system for rules and craziness that they do not understand. That's the first foundation of relationship or partnership, leadership. The second foundation block is relevance, and relevance is a hard one. It's a tricky one because many people believe that they are being relevant to their dog because they're holding a treat pouch or they're giving them food or water or shelter, but it's not that simple. But I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about the third and final foundation block in that foundation of relationship or partnership, and that is fulfillment. And as I mentioned, fulfillment, in my opinion, is the trifecta. If you do fulfillment properly, then you will nail leadership and relevance and fulfillment all in one. That's why I call it's the trifecta of creating an incredible bond, an incredible partnership with your dog. And that's why it's so incredibly important. But many people get it wrong. Not wrong. I wouldn't say wrong. They're not getting it wrong. They're just not utilizing it to the fullest potential. And that's where I wanted to share a little bit about it today. So I want to talk again about this story about Eclipse. Again, if you've heard it, if you read my email, you've already heard the story. But it's I wanted to share it just in case you didn't, because the other day It's like spring, right? So I believe that I want to be a gardener. I believe that I want to have a green thumb. I love everything about gardens and about gardening, but I struggle. I struggle with it so much. But that doesn't stop me from trying. That does not stop me from trying. I really love gardens. And so last year, admittedly, not my fault, I planted lots of stuff and the deer ate it. So now, of course, my gardening prep is literally how do I keep the deer out of my gardens? But I digress. I was out there and I was actually just turning over the soil of my gardens, just kind of getting them prepped, getting kind of excited. The moment I see garden centers like pop up in like parking lots, I'm like, it's happening. Like spring is here. Like I'm so excited. So I'm like, I'm going to prep the gardens. And I had all the dogs out with me and they're all just kind of milling around doing stuff. And I'm kind of working the garden. And one of my newfs, my black newf Eclipse, is hanging out with me. And I see her over at the edge of the garden, like right at the garden edge. And all of a sudden she just starts digging. And it did kind of catch my eye. I was like, are you digging like in the garden? Because I don't know if I want you to do that. Like I don't want you to be practicing that behavior because then you're going to be digging out my flowers when they eventually come. But it was kind of at the edge of the garden. And I'm like, all right, you do you. And then all of a sudden I look down, she's like trying to pull something up with her teeth. And I'm like, what are you doing? I look, she gives this like yank. She pulls out weed and all, like the weed and all, the root and all. She pulls out a dandelion, right? Then proceeds to start chewing on the root a little bit. And I was kind of like, dandelion root actually has some medicinal purposes and I have to look it up. But she then puts it down. She goes to the next one. And I'm like, what is she doing? I look over. Is this dog not legitimately pulling out every single dandelion off the edging of the garden? And I'm like, you're hired. Like 100%. This is a job I can get you to do. The funny thing is that the moment that I noticed and then actually got super duper excited about it. I'm like, look at you go. I started cheering around. I'm like, get this one. Like I was like, let's help you out. Get this. Some of them were like kind of tangled in some grass. So I actually would start it a little bit for her. And then I'd be like, here, take this one. We were out there just like dandelion assassins. Now, listen. I know some people are going to come at me and be like, you're supposed to leave the dandelions alone because of the bees. And I'm like, I get that. Yes, it's true. The bees. But trust me when I say I live on 44 acres and my like whole lawn has got dandelions on it. Like the bees will be fine with her taking these ones out of the garden. Okay. But she and I ended up on this like wild sort of adventure. I'm not going to lie. I actually kind of forgot about the other dogs. Our excitement did bring Nike over. Like Nike came running over because she heard me like, yeah, you're doing it. Nike comes over. She didn't really get into the whole thing. She kind of smelled the dandelion and was like, that's not a rat you killed. Like why are you taking out the dandelions? She didn't get it. Right. But we had the absolute best time. I mean, her nose was covered in dirt. We had pulled up a bunch of dandelions and I was like, I'm actually going to pull these aside and wash them up and whatnot. Because as I mentioned, I do remember reading in the book, The Forever Dog Life. I don't know if you guys are following Dr. Becker and Rodney Habib, but I have the Forever Dog book, but I also got the Life book that has all the recipes. It's such a gorgeous book. Oh my gosh. If you're looking for recipes and whatnot for like things that like natural things that you can give for your dogs to like, as toppers for their food and, for health, I highly recommend this book. Anyway, I'm like, I think there's some stuff that we can do with that. And it turns out you can. Every single part of the dandelion is edible and has some sort of good purpose for the dogs. I believe I actually gave the right amounts in my email. I don't remember them offhand. So please look it up. Don't just go and make dandelion stuff without looking it up, but please look it up because you don't want to overdo it. But anyway, I digress. The point is we had collected like a boatload of of dandelions and we were just having the best time. And it really did sort of bring back this idea of fulfillment factor, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but digging up dandelions isn't in the Newf genetic DNA. Now, Newfoundland dogs are working breed dogs. They were actually bred to bring in the fishermen's nets out of the ocean. They also do water rescue. They pull carts. There's so many things that Newfs do. Dandelions, well, I checked. It wasn't in her resume. I was like, this is a new skill that you've developed. But that doesn't change the fact that it was a brilliant moment of fulfillment factor and connection for the two of us. And people have heard me say this before, and I've had people ask me before when I say part of fulfillment, the biggest part of fulfillment is that you have to, one, be a part of it, and two, delight in it. And I've had people ask me before, what does it mean to delight in it? And literally me just being like, you're doing this. I couldn't have been more happy with the results. She pulled out every single dandelion in all four of my vegetable gardens, plus my rose garden. Like, she was a beast just in there, and she was pretty good, actually. Like, I mean, there's nothing planted right now, but she was pretty good about like being careful about it. Like, she literally just pulled out dandelions. I'm not even entirely sure how she did it. I was damn impressed with her work. But the point of it all is that when we're talking about fulfillment is not just exercise. It's engagement, it's purposeful, and it's joy, right? And so for Eclipse, what might have started out as something, and I mean, there's the vet tech in me is kind of like, I wonder if there's something deficient, because she's, seeking dandelions, but there was purpose in that. And then when I got involved in it, there was joy, so much joy, right? Being a part of that moment. So I wanted to mention that there is a bit of a myth that comes about this, because people sometimes believe that fulfillment has to match the breed description perfectly, and that's not actually the case. For example, just because you have a border collie doesn't mean you necessarily have to have sheep for them to herd. It would be nice if you did, for sure. And I 100% recommend, if you have a border collie and you have the opportunity to do herding, to take it. Like, if you have, like, there's some places where they actually train and they, you can go and test I would go and do it. If you have the opportunity, why wouldn't you go? Right? Like, why wouldn't you just do it? Try it. But if you don't necessarily have to have that, and to be like, I need my dogs need to herd something. When we break down the behavior for Australian Shepherds, Border Collies, any of our herding breed, what they're really trying to do is control chaos, right? It's their job to control chaos. So believe it or not, my two Australian Shepherds, they get to practice their fulfillment by playing with other dogs. Now, back in the day when we had our brick and mortar business and we had doggy daycare, they got to practice it with lots of different dogs, lots of different play styles, and lots of, like, every single day, 3 to 4 times a day, they were out in play groups doing that. So they got to practice herding and chasing. We have it in real time, watching them do the work, cutting them off, using the different zones, figuring out what makes the dog stop, what makes them turn around. Like, it was brilliant. Here's the thing about it, is that they had to have an off switch, right? They always have to defer to the human, which was me. And that's what we taught them. If it was getting too much, I was able to actually be like, okay, that's enough, too much, let's reel that in, kind of a thing. And I will say that is also part of their genetic coding. That's what makes them working breeds. They do want to defer. So when we have dogs like Border Collies or Australian Shepherds that are expressing their herding, let's say unintentionally, or you're allowing them to herd, say, your children or whatnot, and they're getting nippy and all that stuff, and you're getting upset, they are supposed to defer to you. So you getting to be a part of that, you giving them direction is actually part of that fulfillment. That allows you to be a part of that fulfillment. That's one of the key factors of fulfillment factor, right? Let's take another example of my noofs, for example. Believe it or not, my noofs aren't swimmers. What? I know they have webbed feet and yet they don't swim. Mostly because I'm not going to lie, when they were young, we were kind of landlocked. I lived in Ontario. I didn't live in Nova Scotia where they had access to water everywhere. I lived in Ontario. They didn't get to go swimming that much. But that doesn't mean that they don't have some behaviors that come up. One of the things that my noofs like to do, especially Nigel, is they like to hold my hand. Nigel will, quote unquote, rescue me and help me on the deck. Like if we're going for a walk on the way back, he'll be like, let me help you. You look tired, human. And he'll hold my hand. He gently holds my hand and then he will direct me onto the deck. And I delight in that. I totally play that up. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you save me? Thank you, Nigel. And then I give him all the praise and all the hugs and all the love, right? He didn't rescue me from water, but he rescued me from a long walk. Maybe he knows something too. He's probably like, you're not doing well, lady. You need to sit down. But my point is that like he, the fulfillment of it and allowing him to do that. And he has, I'll be honest, we do that in the ocean as well. I'll go walk in the ocean and he'll come out and he'll grab my hand and he'll pull me out. We'll pretend like he rescued me and it's fun. It's fun. My point is that it doesn't have to match up completely. It just has to, you have to sort of figure out what is the expression of their fulfillment and how can I be a part of it? My dog Rue, who's an Australian Shepherd, she will, quote unquote, control Nike, the Jack Russell. And I allow some of it. Like I allow her to kind of be like, slow her down when she's coming indoors and all of that stuff. She still has to defer to me. I still have that off switch. But allowing her to express that, even allowing and encouraging it is what makes us connected. It's what helps our bond. And the bottom line is that fulfillment is a ripple effect, right? Fulfilled dogs are going to be calmer. They're going to be more connected to you. When they see you as part of it, then you become the person that they want to share these things with. You're not just somebody that's watching them do it. You're someone that's a part of it, and that changes everything for them. It boosts your relevance score because being a part of the fulfillment makes you more dog-like, right? We can choose to just kind of let the dog have the length of the leash and let them sniff and do their doggy stuff while we sit over here, we scroll through our phone, or we think about our to-do list or the state of the world or whatever. Or we can put all that aside and we can go sniff some things with them. We can go check out what they're doing. We can go be a part of nature. We can stop all of the noises and voices in our heads for a moment, just a moment, and actually be one with nature with our dogs. How amazingly beautiful is that? Right? And when you show up every day like that, your dog will start to look for you. They'll start to ask questions again, like, hey, like, do you see this thing? Hey, are you coming? I believe like a lot of puppies start off that way. Most puppies start off that way. When we first get them, they're all like, like they're fascinated with the world, and because they're puppies, we tend to be more engaged with them because puppies are cute, right? But as they get older and as our life goes back to normal, we start slipping back into old humansville, and we're thinking about all the stuff, and there's probably so many times when our dogs are like, hey, look at this thing that I found, and we're not even paying attention. So if you can commit to just even paying attention, go see what they're doing, go check out what they're doing, just be a part of it and then delight in it. You will see your dog actually light up and have this as a moment where they're like, oh my gosh, you get it, human. Like, you get it. The world is full of this wonder and you are here and you get it with me. And it's a beautiful thing. A lot of times we will label some of this behavior as bad behavior. I mean, how many of us would have seen our dog digging in the garden and be like, bad dog, and immediately criticize, right? Luckily, I took a moment to be like, where are you digging? Like, where exactly are you digging? before I said anything. And then when I found out what she was doing, I was like, yes, 100% keep doing that. It's amazing. So, and to be honest with you, if you have a digger, you might want to consider finding ways to incorporate digging into something that you can do together, right? Rather than, tell them they can't do it. Why not find a way to do it together? So you're not saying no all the time. You get to say, maybe you'll say, not here, not here, over here. Let's go dig over here and let's do it together and let's find some stuff together. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Here's the bottom line. If you're not factoring in fulfillment in your quote unquote training, I'm telling you, you're missing out. You're missing out. Let your dog's joy lead you. Let your dog's joy lead you. I've often said that if you don't know what your dog's fulfillment factor is, find the things where you see them having absolute joy, where they're just like pure joy. Whatever they're doing in that moment, that's probably their fulfillment factor. And can you be a part of it? Because if you let your dog's joy lead you, maybe, just maybe, you'll find your joy too. All right. So there you have it, my friend. The story of Eclipse, the dandelion warrior, and how we created such an incredible moment together, a moment of connection. The funny thing is now, like, she goes out and the first thing she does, she goes and she checks the gardens, and she has that look like, are we doing gardening today? I might actually get, what'd be cool? I should get one of those like vests that they can wear that maybe have little pockets, and I could put my gardening tools and she could like come around with the, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I should totally do that. Does anyone have one of those? Someone needs to make me one. I can't sew. Someone needs to make me a little vest that you put on like kind of like a harness, but it has little pockets for your gardening tools. That would be so cool. She could be my gardening buddy. Oh gosh, see what I did there? I get a little weird with it. See what I did there? I get a little weird with it. Listen, if you liked this episode on fulfillment, please do me a favor. If you're listening on Apple, just scroll right down to the 5 stars. Give me a 5-star rating, then write a review and let other people know how you're enjoying this show. Maybe share it on your socials. Anything that you can do to share it out to reach more and more dog lovers like you and me, I would really appreciate that. As always, my friend, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. All right, bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.